has proven to be Disney's worst investment ever in the history of Disney investments. I mean, they've gone through various scandals with this girl.
If I'm Bob Iger, you know what we're doing? Emergency meeting. We're putting Snow White on hold for 2 years, and guess what?
Smart.
Pay her a couple $1,000,000, go away. We're going to bring another person to play this role. Angry.
Audiences stayed away, and even her own cast and crew are calling her out. Disney's own CEO's son posted that she hijacked the film and then deleted it after it went viral. Oh, and that #1 movie in the world claim she made? Deleted.
Just listen to what she says. She just...
Could one of Disney's most beloved fairy tales be turning into their biggest nightmare? The upcoming live-action Snow White was meant to be another jewel in Disney's remake crown, but instead it's become a lightning rod for controversy, fueled by its own star and plagued by production woes. Even before its delayed release, whispers turned into shouts online, suggesting the actress hired to embody Snow White might have single-handedly fractured its chances, potentially making this Disney's most ill-fated investment. The backlash has been immense, reaching far beyond fan.
You had Rachel Zegler on the docket too. I think actresses should be quiet. I understand why.
The story begins with the legacy of the 1937 animated classic, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It wasn't just a movie, it was a revolution in animation, the film that launched Disney into the stratosphere and defined childhood magic for generations. Its imagery, its songs, its simple tale of good versus evil became deeply ingrained in global culture. So, when Disney announced a live-action adaptation, part of its ongoing, highly profitable strategy of revisiting its animated vaults, there was predictable anticipation. But that initial excitement began to curdle almost immediately after the casting of Rachel Zegler. It wasn't just her casting, but what she began to say about the very character she was set to play. That set the stage for an unprecedented firestorm.
Said she hated Snow White, mocked the fact that there was a prince, and that she falls in love as opposed to leaning into her own power. We could go on.
The fuse was truly lit when Zegler's interviews started making the rounds. She didn't hold back in her critique of the original Snow White, labeling elements of the 1937 story as severely outdated. She famously described the prince's pursuit as behavior akin to a stalker and openly mocked the original princess's dreams of true love. Zegler emphasized her version would be different, focusing on Snow White becoming a leader, a powerful figure whose ambitions had nothing to do with romance. For many fans who cherished the original, these comments felt less like modernization and more like outright disdain for the source material. The sentiment quickly spread. How could an actress who seemed to dislike the original Snow White genuinely portray her? Her words were seen by legions of fans as deeply disrespectful, igniting a blaze of criticism online. But her critiques were just the beginning of the film's troubles.
They postponed the release of this thing, Ben, for a year because their star, Rachel Zegler, was so unlikable.
Beyond Zegler's polarizing statements, details about the film's creative direction only intensified the controversy. Leaked set photos and insider reports suggested significant departures from the beloved story, most notably concerning the Seven Dwarfs. Gone were the iconic miners, replaced by a diverse group described only as magical creatures of varying sizes and genders. While some might argue this addressed potential sensitivities around dwarfism portrayal, for many it felt like a needless and drastic alteration of a core, defining element of the Snow White story. This change quickly became Exhibit A for critics accusing Disney of prioritizing a woke agenda over faithful adaptation, further alienating a fan base already wary of the project's direction. It seemed every new detail chipped away at the original's identity.
They've been in a full meltdown about this girl for a couple of years now, and how they had her tweet out like a little, "Yay, Snow White, can't wait, so excited, I love to play her."
And the controversies kept mounting, hitting Disney where it hurts most: the budget. Reports began to surface about the production costs ballooning to staggering figures, allegedly soaring past $300 million. For a live-action fairy tale, not an effects-heavy sci-fi epic, these numbers seemed astronomical, baffling industry observers. Whispers of extensive and costly reshoots followed, adding credence to the idea that Disney executives were deeply worried. Were they scrambling to fix a broken narrative? trying to salvage the film from the PR disaster Zegler's comments had created? Whatever the reason, the perception grew that Snow White was a production in trouble, hemorrhaging money with little guarantee of recouping its colossal investment, especially given the increasingly negative buzz.
And she did it and got like millions of views, and they were like, good job, Rachel. And then she, like, minutes later followed it up with, and never forget, free Palestine. This is just like a few months after 10/7. Yeah, we had more dwarfs than we did viewers in most of these theaters. And as you know, there were no dwarfs other than some CGI weird generated version of them. It's the old, it truly is go woke, go broke.
While the budget spiraled, the star herself seemed almost intent on adding more fuel to the fire, becoming entangled in other public controversies that compounded the negativity surrounding Snow White. Shortly after posting a seemingly standard promotional tweet for the film, she followed up minutes later with a politically charged statement about the situation in Palestine, a move seen by many as jarringly timed and further polarizing. Older comments also resurfaced, including controversial remarks she allegedly made about the atmosphere on the set of West Side Story, questioning the authenticity demanded of her Latina heritage. While separate from Snow White, these incidents painted a picture for critics of an actress prone to outspokenness that often courted controversy, making Disney's job of promoting their fairy tale exponentially harder. A pattern seemed to emerge, making her the focal point of audience frustration.
For every one of the 18 hours I am in the Snow White dress, I expect to get paid. If it's 18 hours, I want 18 hours of pay. I'm sure she got underpaid as a Disney lead actress.
With every headline and viral clip, the online reaction grew fiercer, transforming from initial skepticism into a torrent of disapproval. Negative comments flooded social media. Fan edits mocking Zegler's statements garnered millions of views, and the term "go woke, go broke" became inextricably linked with the film. The negativity became so pervasive that Disney made a drastic move, delaying the film's release by an entire year, pushing it from March 2024 to March 2025. While officially cited reasons might be vague, the industry consensus was clear. The film was testing poorly, the PR was toxic, and the studio needed time, perhaps for more reshoots, perhaps simply hoping the furor would die down. But the damage control seemed ineffective. Disney appeared to have lost control of the narrative entirely.
So she just encapsulates everything that most of us cannot stand about modern day feminism and the left in general.
The fallout isn't just online noise. It carries real-world consequences with colossal stakes for both the star and the studio. For Rachel Zegler, whose career launched spectacularly with West Side Story, Snow White was meant to solidify her stardom. Instead, she's become the face of a project mired in negativity. Whether fair or not, being associated with such intense backlash could significantly impact her future casting opportunities. Studios might hesitate to hire a star perceived as alienating a large segment of the potential audience. For Disney, the stakes are arguably even higher. Hundreds of millions in production costs are on the line, but the potential damage extends far beyond that. A box office bomb could mean massive losses on merchandise and further erode trust in their live-action remake strategy. If Snow White fails spectacularly, it could force Disney to fundamentally rethink its reliance on mining nostalgia, potentially impacting their entire creative direction for years to come.
This weird feminist thing where her heroine cannot be in love or be saved by a man, the prince, that she's more focused on becoming the leader she was meant to be, as if women in modern day America must make that choice.
Ultimately, this firestorm boils down to a fundamental clash: the tension between preserving a cherished legacy and the push to modernize it for contemporary audiences. Zegler's unfiltered comments, combined with controversial creative choices and production difficulties, transformed this adaptation into a symbol of that cultural conflict. The film now approaches its release under immense pressure, burdened by negative preconceptions and intense scrutiny. Can the final product overcome the disastrous PR? Will audiences give it a chance? Or have minds already been made up?
So, I mean, this woman has clicked every box. And just for cherry on top at the end, she gave an interview last week talking about how they were basically a bunch of white supremacists on the set of West Side Story.
This Snow White saga has become far more than just another movie release. It's a defining moment, a fascinating case study in audience power, star influence, and studio strategy in the digital age. Will it eventually be hailed as a bold, misunderstood reimagining that found its audience despite the noise? Or will it serve as a stark, cautionary tale for Hollywood about the dangers of disrespecting beloved source material and underestimating the passion of a fan base? The future of this fairy tale hangs precariously in the balance, and its fate could echo through the halls of Disney and the wider industry for a very long time. What's certain is that the conversation around Snow White reveals deep fissures in our culture about how we handle the stories we inherit and who gets to reshape them for the future.